Okay, back again, this time with the Buried Treasure book tag. I was tagged by Timmy over at Lost Cunningham, and if you're not familiar with Timmy, I suggest you go check out his channel. He reads a lot of guidebooks, but really good ones, and so I've actually picked up a few titles off of his channel. The creator of the tag was, I believe the channel name is Too Fond of Books. I forgot to write it on my paper because, you know me, I'm just always prepared. But I will have both of their channels linked down in my description, as well as any other booktuber I mention, and all of the books I mention will also be linked down in the descriptions. I link them to Goodreads. Okay, let's get on with this book tag. Okay, the first one is a book that has been on your shelf a long time, but you have never talked about it on your channel. Well, it's not hard for me to find a book that I haven't talked about because I've only been doing this for about 3 months. But the book that I chose, hi baby kitty. The book that I chose is The Heart is a Lonely Hunter by Carson McCullers. I bought this book when I was 21 years old and I'm 44 now, so I've had it for a long time and I have not read it. Isn't that awful? I don't know, it sounds really good and I want to read it. It's just one of those books that keeps getting pushed back in favor of other things. I'm going to read you the synopsis just so you have an idea what it is. The heroine is a strange young girl, Mick Kelly. The setting is a small southern town, the cosmos universal and eternal. The characters are the damned, the voiceless, the rejected. Some fight their loneliness with violence and depravity, some with sex or drink, and some, like Mick, with a quiet, intensely personal search for beauty. Sounds like a Brandy read. Let's see, the next book on the prompt is a book with a cover so awful it's actually awesome. Now, most of my books are actually in storage. The books that I have here in the house on my shelves are the books that I've just bought in the last few years. So I probably have a better book to choose for this prompt, but the one that I found on my shelf that I thought fit the bill was The Rings of Saturn by W.G. Sebald, or Sebald, I'm not sure you pronounce the author's name. Here's the cover. So this book sounds amazing. I'm really, really dying to read this, and I want to try to get to this soon, but I hate the cover. You know, when I first got it, I thought that the cover was interesting, but the more I stare at this cover, the more I think this cover is awful. Who designed this darn book cover? It's just awful. However, it looks like a piece of abstract art. So where I think the cover is awful, I still feel like strangely drawn to it and I can't stop staring at it. I just pull this book off the shelf occasionally and just stare at the cover. And I'm just like, what is this? Like The Rings of Saturn, obviously. And this looks like a painting from, I don't know what time period. What time period did they wear the big ruffles around their neck? I don't know, there. And then I don't know what the devil this is. What is that? Can you see that? It looks like the edge of a mushroom or something, or I don't know. I don't know what that is. All I can see is like the edge of a mushroom when I look at it. So I have no idea, but look, weird cover. Anyway, let's see. The next prompt is a book you love that you wish everyone would read. Okay, I actually chose 2 books for this because I do what I want. The first book is actually a series. It's the Dies Irae series. I'm probably butchering that. It's Latin. But this is the first book in the series called Stealing the Light. It is a fantasy, like a low fantasy series. And it is my favorite fantasy series. I really, really love it. And it was written by an independent author. She published it on Amazon. This is actually not the current cover. This was the first edition cover. She's actually changed the cover now. So it does look a little different now. I think I prefer this cover though. I think this cover is really beautiful. But anyway, yeah, it's low fantasy and it's more character driven than plot driven. There is plot. There is, you know, things happening. However, it's really focused on the characters, and so it is right up my alley. I love books that focus on the characters and their development, and the character development here is amazing. You are not going to find too many other novels that can do it better than what Lisa Hoffman has done it in her books. And Catherine is one of my favorite novels of all time. Catherine is pretty much the main character. I mean, you're following a few characters, but we follow Catherine a lot more than we follow any of the other characters. So she's the one that I'm really, really attached to. Let's see. The other book that I wish more people would read is Amanujaku by Damien Lutz. This book is incredible. It's incredible. It is science fiction. It's like a dystopian future. And it's about this guy on the cover, Andre, and he is very, very troubled. And I hesitate about what I should tell you. Let's see, what's on the synopsis here? Okay, this story really comes into focus when he meets a self-aware android. And that's not a spoiler because it's on the back. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because I think this book just reads way better if you go in blind and you don't read. He's got a few short stories out too. He's got a short story called Android's Orchid, and that short story intersects with this book. What happens in Android's Orchid also happens in this book, but in Android's Orchid, it's from a different character. It's from the robot's point of view, or from the android's point of view. And from here, we're getting Andre's point of view. But anyways, the writing in this is incredible. I thought this is probably one of the most well-written books I've ever read, you know, with the exception of maybe classics. Wonderful writing, and this author has a truly amazing insight into human nature. You would not, if you are a science fiction fan, you definitely should read this, especially if you like dystopian type novels. This is so good. I can't even tell you how good it is. Read it. And this one too, Stealing Delight. Okay, the next prompt is a well-known author's underappreciated work. That's what it is. Okay, for this one I chose Sylvia Plath's Mary Ventura and the Ninth Kingdom. It is a short story. It's only about 40 pages. And I thought the story was really creative. It has a supernatural element, and it's about a girl on a train. And I can't tell you anything more than that without spoiling it. But I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was really well done. Is it my favorite short story ever? No. But it's very, very good. And the thing that I really like about this is the efficiency that she told the story. It's written beautifully, and she just lays the whole story out from beginning to end in a very efficient manner, while still maintaining the sort of poetic quality that her writing tends to have. So yeah, I do recommend this if you're looking for a short read. The next prompt, if I can make sure I am reading on the right line, is the oldest edition of a book on your shelves. Well, I looked through all my books, and this is the oldest edition I could find. It is on Man in Universe, Aristotle. I'll give you up close there of the spine. This was published in 1943, I believe. Yes, 1943. I think it's a really beautiful book. Really like it. I have a few of these editions actually. And the next prompt is an author on your shelves that you've never heard anyone else talk about. Okay, for this prompt I chose Richard Shapiro. This was the first book of his that I came across. It's called Arms from the Sea. I really like this cover, by the way. The colors are beautiful. And I had never heard anything about this author, but this book sounded really good, and so I picked it up. I'm just going to give you a quick read. The synopsis is really short. Enough of the known of seeds already sown. If you're a god, make something strange, something the light has never seen. Let yourself turn in the silver gears that circle these pinprick eyes. Give up this brittle body and soul. Revert to the plasma of pure imagination. I'm going to play the formation of life from scratch. Right? How weird does that sound? I had to read it. So I picked this up, and then a while later, several months later, I found this other book by him called Rin, Tongue, and Dorner, and I picked it up really cheap, and it's a hardback. Tongue was more than ever. Tongue was more real. Tongue was more real than ever. Her ribbons glittered in the distance, streaming toward him through the inky night. You think you can reach me, Tongue whispered. Could he, Dorner wondered? How far was she? In what dark cavity of his mind had she lodged? What was waiting at the end of those ribbons? Peace or terror? Sense or madness? So yeah, I just thought they sounded really unusual and really interesting, and I couldn't find anything about this author. Nobody on BookTube talks about him. I couldn't find anything about him. So I have zero idea what I'm going to be walking into when I get around to reading these books. But I thought his book sounded very interesting, and the covers are really pretty. Let's see. A book you love from your shelves that you haven't read in over 5 years, and that would be The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. This is one of my very, very favorite books. I first read this in high school, and I absolutely loved it. I still loved it. I still love it, rather, and I've read this about 3 times. And every time I read it, I just think it's better than the last time I read it. So the next prompt is a book you remember reading in your childhood, and that was an easy pick. This is The Happy World of Strawberry Shortcake by Michael A. Vaccaro. This book I've had forever. I don't know. I was 6 or 7 when I got it. We lived in Virginia Beach, and I don't remember who bought this for me, but it's got with thick cardboard pages. Hi, baby kitty. And yeah, I really loved this book. I was super into strawberry shortcake when I was really little. And so I'm sure somebody got me this as a gift because of that love. And then let's see, the next prompt is a book you love from a genre that you don't tend to read from. Now, my least read genre is horror and mystery. I have never read much horror at all, just a few books throughout my life. And in the last several months, I've decided I was going to explore the horror genre and mystery, because I really haven't read mystery either. But mostly horror is my, I have read mystery here and there, but horror, almost none. So this is a horror novel called The Anomaly by Michael Rudker. And I really, really enjoyed this book. I thought it was so good. It has... like when you're reading it, it's sort of a unique experience in that they insert things from the main character's file in here. So you'll get like pictures from their file and things like that in it. I thought that was really interesting. The other thing that really did it for me with this book was the characters. The characters' interactions is excellent. I love the way the characters behave together and navigate the horror portion of the novel together. So this is a really, really good novel, and I do recommend it highly. And it actually is going to be part of a series. A second book in the series has come out, which I actually did pick up and have on my shelves, and I'm anxious to read. Okay, let's see. Okay, now tag a booktuber who has buried treasure in their videos. Now, I guess you're supposed to pick one booktuber, but I'm picking 2 because there are 2 booktubers that I would really like to see do this tag. One is a booktube goddess. I would really like to see her do this tag. She mentions a lot of interesting books that I have also read, and that and also we're about the same age. So I'm really interested in what she would have to say. And then the Rabbling Raconteur, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He always has a lot of interesting things to say about books, and so I'd really be interested in what he has on his shelves that he would want to talk about. So okay, well, let's hope they both see me tag them. And okay, that's all.